From NBC News, this is Today.
And we're back with Today's Family and whether or not to discipline other people's children.
Very tricky. As a parent, you decide how you want to raise your children, what's right and what's wrong. But what happens if someone disagrees? Is it okay for another adult to step in and discipline your kid? Here's what some people had to say about that.
These are my girls. This is their aunt. I would like her to discipline them if she saw them doing something. I don't think that she would to the degree that I discipline them.
I don't have any problem with it. If I know them, I would never think to do it out on the street to someone.
It depends if you know the child well, absolutely. And if you don't know the child well, it depends how much danger they're putting into your children or somebody else's children.
I think that people probably need to mind their own business.
Often I'm in a position where the other parent is there and they should be doing the disciplining. I don't feel that it's my place to do that.
I feel it's not right because it's not anybody that I know personally.
Well, excuse us, miss. Linda Fears is editor-in-chief of Family Circle magazine, and Jeff Gardere is a psychologist. And both are parents, though not to the same children, right?
That's what we
not
hear.
that we know of.
Not that you know of.
But we have 7 altogether.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, so you're rather experts on this subject. Nice to have both of you.
It
It's
is
a
always a
tricky,
pleasure.
tricky
It really
situation.
is.
It
And
is.
subjective, too, right?
Well, doesn't it depend on the situation,
Yeah.
Linda?
Well, first of all, it never used to be this tricky situation because a generation ago, everyone was kind of on the same page, right?
Children had strong parental
Well, right, and even if you were,
influences in their life.
and the neighbors all knew each other, so you
Right.
sort of expected somebody to be watching out for your kid if you weren't around.
It was
and
that
vice
whole
versa.
idea of it took a village.
Village,
right?
absolutely. But today, now you remember the line, Amy Poehler's line in Mean Girls, where she said, "I'm not a regular mom, I'm a cool mom." A lot of parents today really sort of, want to be that cool mom, want to be the house where the kids want to come over, so they're a little bit afraid of disciplining other people's children.
But
'cause they don't
sometimes
wanna
it gets
embarrass
weird.
them.
Like, for instance, I've been in an airplane before. You're sitting here, and a kid behind you is kicking the
Kicking
chair,
yeah.
and the parent's sitting next to him, and nobody's saying anything. So, what's the right solution? Should you tell the parent? Should you ask the child? What do you think?
I think absolutely the right solution is to turn to the parent and say, would you mind asking your child not to kick the chair? Now, of course, the problem arises when the parent ignores you,
Right.
and then you don't know what to do. So in that case, I still wouldn't talk to the child in that case. I would speak to a steward
Yes.
and see what you can do to get
Right.
the problem solved. But if you do it with a smile, and I know you ladies smile so well, right?
It is
You
sometimes
get it
it's the
done.
message-
You have to be
the message, not the
political.
messenger,
You have to
yeah.
be very, very political in how you do it. So I don't like to see it so much as discipline, more like education,
Right.
more like a request.
And if
Yeah.
you know the children, which is what they said in the piece there,
You feel
there's
more
a, yeah,
comfortable,
there's
too.
there's a different boundary.
Oh,
isn't there?
sure, absolutely.
But I won't give something. If a kid doesn't say thank you, I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
go, excuse me?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. What was that?
Right.
They go,
That's
they're
right.
just supposed to say thank you.
Yeah.
Right.
And
And that's
lots of
okay.
times I go, I am? They don't even know they're supposed to say please or thank you.
And what you're doing is you're educating, and that's a very, very good thing. I think it becomes really, really sticky when the parent is there and you want to discipline because you don't see the parent doing something. In that case, it becomes a situation of where maybe you have to pull that parent aside. But I'll tell you, we were talking about this, Linda and I. There's some neighborhoods in New York
You
or maybe
better be
even
careful.
Brooklyn. If you're going to discipline some kid, you better watch out because you may have a parent who may be just as rude as that child. Really, these kids
Probably,
don't
'cause the
operate
apple
in a
doesn't fall
vacuum.
far.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you have to be
But Linda,
careful.
And that
sometimes
can happen everywhere.
But sometimes you don't have the time to go to the parent. Like something's happening right here,
Well,
right
if it's
now.
dangerous,
If
you
it's
mean?
a dangerous
what should you do?
situation, there's
Absolutely.
no question. You absolutely have to discipline the child.
What if you see somebody spanking their child, like their kids throwing a fit or something in Bloomingdale's? Or what would you do about that?
I would say something. I
What
mean,
would you
I think
say?
anybody has the right to say, I think you should stop. It's not okay to hit a child, to hit anybody's child, your own child or somebody else's child.
But what if they say it's not your business?
None of
This
your
is my
business,
kid. This is
lady.
how I raise my child.
It's not my business, but if it's the way I feel and you want to share your opinion, then what's the harm?
But be prepared again for the reaction you're going to get from
Be prepared, and this has happened, actually. A friend of mine said this actually happened to her, and the mother was very defensive, and she was
And you
very
can't-
upset.
Right, and you can't come across as a personal attack or it's a criticism on that parent because we've all, as parents, been in that situation where the kid throws the tantrum and they really are blackmailing you for that toy or what have you, or they won't stop acting out. So I think if you approach that parent and say, seems like you're really having a hard time.
I can see where
Is there
that-
anything I can
can
help
do.
with?
I can do to
Yeah.
help you.
Yeah.
Right. Always
You
do
want to borrow
something.
my belt? No, I would.
Oh, Jeff.
But you know, is there
Stick to
anything?
psychology, all right?
I'm just joking. But you know, is there anything I can do to help you as far as getting that stress off? Can we walk with the child? You know, this is what I do with my kids.
Oftentimes the person's embarrassed by their child, right? They're embarrassed.
And people do have different ways of disciplining their kid. Like your way may not be her way, may not be Kathy Lee's or my way. So when do you step in? Because I think that's a tricky thing. Because I can picture you going up to some mother and saying, I don't appreciate that or whatever, and you're not helping her, you're not helping the child, you're helping yourself. You feel better.
Yourself. And really, you know, those situations don't happen all that often. What's more common is if you do know the parents and you have their child at your house or your child's at their house, and then what do you do? Because, you know, what may be okay in your house isn't okay. Well, it's good for the child to see different discipline styles. In other words, I would expect another parent to discipline my child in her house if that's her house rules.
Okay.
It may not be mine, but, you know, particularly if it's a dangerous situation.
Right, but you have to look at the rules, and there are some rules here. First, never put your hands on a child, another person's child. Secondly, don't raise your voice. And the most important thing is, if you can, get the permission of that parent about discipline and make sure they can do the same with your child.
Jeff, how about don't invite him over in the first place? Thanks, you guys so much.
Take off your
We appreciate
shoes on that couch,
Olivia
kid.
Pierce and Jeff Gardere, thanks so much.
All right, coming up, Meredith Vieira's makeup artist is going to show you.